Good evening. It is now 8 minutes past 9 here in Stockton. I'm Gabriel Porras. Thank you for joining us. New results in from the San Joaquin County Registrar of Voters Office regarding many of our local races. I'm going to take you to our key races right now as we have the results in. The Registrar of Voters Office reporting 40.86% voter turnout. One of our key races here, the race for Stockton Mayor. I'm going to put that on screen now. You can see Kevin Lincoln holding his lead in that race with 52.07% of the votes. His opponent, Mayor Michael Tubbs, at 47.93% of the votes. And they are still pretty close, as you can see there, a difference of about 2,094 votes so far. And this is, again, counting 40.86% voter turnout by the Registrar of Voters Office so far. Registrar of Voters Office also saying that these updates are now including vote-by-mail ballots received in the mail on or before Friday, October 30th, vote-by-mail ballots returned at official ballot drop boxes on or before Friday, October 30th, and ballots cast in person at voter service centers on Election Day on November 3rd. These results do not include most ballots cast in person at voter centers from October 31st through November 2nd, any vote-by-mail ballots received in the mail on or after Saturday, October 31st, vote-by-mail ballots dropped off at voter service centers or drop-off boxes after Saturday, October 31st, and conditional voter registration or provisional ballots. So still quite a lot of ballots that the San Joaquin County Registrar of Voters Office has to count. But as you can see, at this hour, Kevin Lincoln having the lead over incumbent Mayor Michael Tubbs still, and we'll get back to that race in just a moment. I want to show you our other races that we're following for you as well. In the race for City Council District 6, Kimberly Wormsley has continued her lead at 70% of the votes here, and Gloria Allen, her opponent, at 30.0% of the votes so far. Moving on now to County Supervisor District 5, RHODESIA RANSOM also continuing her lead here with 52.66% of the votes, and Robert Rickman, Mayor of Tracy, with 47.34% of votes trailing her in that race. For Measure X in San Joaquin County, again, Yes is still growing its lead at 66.02%, and No is at 33.98%. I also want to put up a screen for you guys right now. For those of you who are watching other races in San Joaquin County that we have not mentioned here so far. For example, for the Congressional District 9 race, you can see Jerry McNerney still in the lead there. District 5 for the Senate, Susan Talamantes-Eggman still leading in that race as well. For Assembly District 13, Kathy Miller in the lead as well, 52.44% of the votes. And here a look at the different educational boards. As you can see, for County Board of Education, Trustee Area Number 3, Douglas Vigil in the lead with 64.40% of the votes, the same lead that we saw yesterday and on election night as well. Same story for San Joaquin County, San Joaquin Delta Community College District Board member Trustee Area 2, Elizabeth Blanchard still in the lead on that race. For Area 5, Kathy Garcia in the lead, as you can see there. Area 6, Teresa Brown in the lead. Yosemite Community College District Board member Trustee Area 5, Darren Gerhardt is in the lead for that one. For SUSD Board member, you can see Cecilia Mendez, the incumbent there for Area 1, still in the lead. For SUSD Board Area Number 3, Valentino Silva still in the lead as we saw on election night. As for Area 4, Ray Zulueta is in the lead at 38.76% of the votes. Incumbent Ling Lentau there trailing at 31.4%. For LUSD Board member Trustee Area Number 2, Ashley Jones currently has a pretty big lead in that race with 79.97% of the votes going to her. For LUSD Board member Trustee Area Number 4, as you can see, Sandra Chan in the lead there for that race. And again, I'm going to go back up to our other election results in case those of you who may have just recently joined us. So far, Registrar of Voters Office is counting a voter turnout of 40.86% in San Joaquin County. We understand that there are still a number of ballots left to be counted, and that total is slated to change with our next result updates. And for the record, they are saying at this point that we are expecting our next results to be posted at 9 p.m. tomorrow night. So on Friday, we'll have some more information on our local races here. But again, so far, Kevin Lincoln in the lead at 52.07% of the votes. His incumbent and his opponent, Michael Tubbs, at 47.93% of the votes. And I mentioned that number that it's currently 2,094 votes in between the two. There is still a lot of room. As I mentioned, there are still a lot of ballots to be counted. I do want to mention as well, for this race in particular, for the City of Stockton Mayor, there are 139,300 registered voters for this race. So far, we have just about 50,000, I believe, ballots counted, and it's unclear how many people voted in this race, but again, 139,330 people were eligible to vote. So far, about 50,000 of those votes have come in. So we're not calling this race yet, as it is just too close to call at this point, with only 2,000 votes separating the two. And we will let you know if that changes, of course, as we get our next updates, which will be coming tomorrow evening at 9 o'clock, according to the Registrar of Voters Office. And again, this is right now we are only counting 40.86% voter turnout. According to the Registrar of Voters Office itself, they are saying that our final turnout could be closer to 75%. So that puts it into perspective for you how many ballots are still left to be counted in many of these local races. We'll have those updates for you tomorrow as well when they come in. Again, for City Council District 6, as you can see, Kimberly Wormsley still in the lead on that race with 70% of the votes. Gloria Allen in second place with 30% of the votes for that. As we move on again to County Supervisor District 5, RHODESIA RANSOM at 52.66% of the votes, coming in right before her opponent, Tracy Mayor Robert Rickman, who has 47.34% of the votes. And for Measure X in San Joaquin County, still on the course to being approved by voters, with 66.02% of the votes being cast in favor of that measure, 33.98% of the votes against that. Now, I also want to remind you, for those of you who may not have heard this earlier, this is from the San Joaquin County Registrar of Voters Office. These results include vote-by-mail ballots received in the mail on or before October 30th, vote-by-mail ballots returned at official ballot drop-off boxes or before Friday, or I should say on or before Friday, October 30th, and ballots cast in person at voter service centers on Election Day, November 3rd. This is not counting any mail-in ballots that were cast in person at voter service centers from October 31st through November 2nd, or any vote-by-mail ballots received in the mail after Saturday, October 31st, or vote-by-mail ballots dropped off at voter service centers after October 31st, and of course conditional voter registration or provisional ballots are not included in this. So still a great deal of ballots to be counted in San Joaquin County, as many as a few thousand and potentially in the hundreds of thousands. As I mentioned, for the Stockton mayoral race, there are 139,330 registered voters, according to the Secretary of State's office for that race. So far, we have only seen about 50,000 of those voters have been counted in these results. It's unclear if obviously all that 139,000 will be voting for mayor, but nonetheless, still a lot of ballots that can be counted in that race. That's why we're not calling it quite yet. And the same goes for many of the other local races as well. There are still thousands of ballots to be counted across San Joaquin County, so we're not calling any of the races yet, although as soon as we get closer and closer to tomorrow's update at 9 p.m., we will have those updates for you, and we'll be sure to pass those along to you here tomorrow. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining us this evening, and again, we'll be back on tomorrow with more results updates from the San Joaquin County Registrar of Voters Office.